All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Yeah, you guys know what time it is. This is the Extraordinary Men Podcast, and I am one of the most extraordinary men on the planet. Okay, feeling myself. My name is Phil Jones, aka Mike Jones, however you know me personally or professionally, and I am the host of the Extraordinary Men Podcast. And you guys know the co-hostess with the mostest. I should stop calling them a co-host, but I can't think of a better synonym to use, so we're gonna run with that. For today, introduce yourself.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another classic episode of The Extraordinary Men. I am Midas. Make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go.
All right. So we're gonna jump right into this. I don't want no fluff, no filler. We just going Hennessy, no chaser, straight to the gut. All right.
Let's get it.
So today's topic is called "Old Enough to Know Better, Young Enough to Do Better." What does that mean? Old enough to know better means that you have had a level of life experience that you have seen some things and you know certain things to be true and certain things to be false. Young enough to do better means that you still quality working years with you to make the necessary corrections. If you did not make the best decisions prior, you can now start fixing those things and start moving in the direction that you need to move into. Midas, would you like to elaborate on that?
Absolutely. So let's say that you went into a situation to where, something pretty much almost everybody knows about. You maxed out a credit card. Well, you did that when you were young, but now that you're older, you understand how to properly use a credit card and know uh gain understanding of statement date versus due dates and all that, so you know how to operate that credit card uh more maturely and be on top of it. So I think that's a good example to start.
So let's add some sauce onto that rib. The understanding of the importance of credit in the first place. Whereas
Hmm.
you realize because of the amount of life experience that you now have, you have finally come to a realization about how many doors are locked to you when you don't have the ability to sign your name in good faith on stuff. The level of interest rates being blocked out of the housing market, always having to find some third party situations to get access to the things that you want. Playing a game with cash is a difficult game to play because if you don't have enough of it to play appropriately, it's a lose lose.
I mean, yeah, when you're not thoroughly understanding finances, if your financial IQ isn't on par, then you're playing the game on extremely hard. You're playing it on legendary, and
You're all mad at, huh?
you all Madden when you don't have your finances and your credit in order.
You see, and the thing about it is that I give this mathematical equation. I've given this equation a couple of times. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this equation here in the podcast today. All right, so the average person graduates high school about age 18 years old. The average person goes into retirement. Now the retirement age has extended out to about 67 years old. So between age 18 and 67, you have 49 working years ahead of you. What happens is that if you just completely screwed off the first 20 years between 18 and 28, what happens ultimately is you still have another 29 years to make the necessary corrections. Okay, you had kids, you messed up a bunch of money, you burned off your credit. Hey, look, bad credit can only sit on your credit for 7 years. A bankruptcy can only affect you for up to 10 years. So throughout the duration of whatever time that you play in the game, regardless of how deep in the hole that you dig yourself, you have enough time to reverse the situation and ultimately end up on top. It may take you a little longer to get there. So let's just say 20 years, clubs, hanging out, having kids, doing everything irresponsible under the sun. Okay, now I got another 29 years to go. Okay, cool. So now I'm the oldest person in class going to go get my 4 year degree, but you get the 4 year degree. Go get it. Go get it in something that's going to make you some money. Being old enough to know better will tell you that I don't need to be going to go and find a labor of passion to go and get. Yo, all right. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey man, look, sorry, I get my batteries from Jank Mobile. No, I forgot to charge my wireless. I thought it was fully charged. My bad for the dropout. But nonetheless, you have a situation where you are making quality decisions based off the fact that you already know what's on the other side. So I don't just go to school and go get a degree in something because it's something I want to do. It's like it's a mixture between what I want to do, what life has told me that my competency and skills are, what my interests are, and also what's going to pay the bills. So whereas I might have wanted to be a teacher years ago because I want to help people, I want to be this great asset to the community. Well, guess what? I know enough to know that going to become a teacher may or may not be what I need to do when I got XYZ amount of situation happening. Okay, cool. I might get subsidies on housing. I might get subsidies on a bunch of other things. Okay, I get the summers off and I still collect the check. Great, fantastic. But how much money am I making and how much of a degree and how much schooling do I need in order to make the type of money I want to make? So, elementary school teacher, special education teacher versus a collegiate professor, different tiers, different levels, different understandings. But you know enough to know that you are in a place to where you have to start making better decisions. You are in places to where you want to follow your dreams when you were young, and those dreams ultimately didn't get you anywhere. And now you say, you know what? I'm going to take this job that I'm working. I'm going to start moving up the corporate ladder. I'm going to start putting myself in a position where I'm going to step out of the doer and step myself into the thinker category because the thinkers get paid more money.
Absolutely. And I think that you touched on, I tried to do this for a while. I tried to chase this dream, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that sometimes it could be that whole pick up and drop syndrome. I didn't get any instant gratification out of doing this, so I set it to the side. And then you also got a lot of people that do bouncing around. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try that and see how that do. Oh, then I'm gonna try that and see how that do.
We treat
Oh,
life like a buffet.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like find one thing. I like to follow what's called focus. Focus is an acronym for follow one course until success. That's all you got to do. Now, that's not to say that you can't dip and dab in other areas, but put a lot of focus into one main thing. My one main focus was always my IT business. Yes, I did music, I did this, I did that, I tried this, I tried that, but my main focus, I always had the main focus on my IT business. Period.
And with that being said, it's like one of those situations is people have to understand that it's like you can't kick yourself in the butt for what you didn't do. Because a
Yeah.
lot of us did not have people around us that we got a chance to see in real time the right way to go. So we followed things, we tried things, even when we tried to go against the grain to figure something out. So I don't want to be like what my mom did, but then you following a thousand other wrong things because you've never seen an example of how to do it right. A lot
Right.
of us didn't know what questions to ask or who to turn to even ask the questions. Now, once you have enough life experience behind you and you've met enough people, you've seen enough people, first and foremost, the first time that I seen somebody driving the car that I dreamed about was my opportunity to ask, how did you get that?
Mhm.
What did you do? What do you do for a living? I don't mean to pry too much in your personal life, but hey, you're walking in a direction that I only dream. Your regular day, your everyday regular life has something to do with somewhere I'm trying to get to. How do I get there? Oh, you're an investment banker. How do you become an investment banker? Like, what type of education do you need? Do you need a degree in economics, accounting? Like, what steps do you go through to go to that? Is there a specific school that you need, or a specific type of training and skills, a specific focus once you go into economics? We are old enough to know that life is not just a 3 5 second Google search, but yet the 3 to 5 second Google search will open. There's too many people walking around with one of these right now to be telling me that they don't know something.
Or that they broke.
I mean, let's start in one area. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But
Mhm.
you have an information highway When we were coming up, DSL was a huge thing.
What?
When dial-up turned to DSL, oh baby. Oh, you mean to tell me I get to download?
Actually, back then, you actually heard what the internet sounded like. Oh, it was amazing. Like before it actually logged you on, you had to hear this noise
Do
that it
you
was
know?
connecting you.
Do you know how many scary dreams I had that featured you got mail? Anyway, but aside from all of that, the one thing that I've come to the realization of is the fact that a lot of what I want to do is not a reinvention of the wheel. A lot of what people get stuck at is this constant thought process of, oh, I'm trying to break generational curses. The easiest way to break a general curse is to get off your ass and go do something. Because the biggest curse is that a lot of the people that's around you ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
Because part of it that we learned was when you start, actually, it's like a baby that's walking for the first time. Everything that you do that's brand new to you is like a baby. You're going to observe people walking. You're going to get up and try it for yourself. And then you're going to fall, you're going to stumble until you get the balance. And then after that, it's running around the room.
I think the most fascinating thing about the baby, Mike,
what's that?
They don't have a sense of risk. They don't have an understanding of risk and danger. They just get up and do. They don't know that, you know what I'm saying, those steps hurt if you fall. They don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if we can implement that style of thinking and concept into our daily lives to where trying something new, we don't know what it's gonna do, but we're gonna do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? If a baby has nothing holding them back, they just finna just go and do it. You know how much people will get accomplished if they just get up and just go and do it.
I'm gonna say something that I don't know how many people, and for those of you guys that are just now tuning in, we're talking about the scenarios of being old enough to know better and young enough to do better. A lot of our audience, our core audience who tune into this content on a regular basis, they are in our age bracket. They are, in this age bracket right here. So nothing that we're saying is really foreign to you guys. And if you're even 25 years old, you have been through something since the day that the high school released you out into the public to see what the real world is like. So we're talking to all age groups that have some concept of life experience, that realize that what you thought you were going to be doing senior year and what y'all was saying was y'all signed those yearbooks, y'all was getting ready to walk out, is probably vastly different from what you're actually doing. But the thing is the fact that the timeline that you have is not predicated off of space and opportunity, but more so when you're going to train your mind to take advantage of opportunity. Nobody's blocking you from going to school. Nobody's blocking you from picking up your phone and finding out what a certain career field pays. Nobody's blocking you from getting the LLC. Nobody's blocking you from trying and failing and trying again. Nobody is stopping you from that. Nobody's putting a gun to your head and telling you you can't succeed. That is all here. Anybody trying to tell me, oh, well, life and circumstance, and I've been through this, it's like I'm about to go into this big case that I got and go pull out this tiny violin, and we finna go ahead and we're gonna talk about it. And as soon as you done spilling your guts about every single nasty, dirty, unfortunate circumstance that ever happened, I'm gonna look back, lean in my chair, and ask you, okay, great. So now what you gonna do about it? Because that's where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, I posted a picture in the group of this guy working to get his food truck, and it has a picture of him like creating all of his plates. He's making his food, plating them up, and putting them in these containers. And he's walking them to his regular car and driving around to all the local barber shops and wherever he can try to get these plates off at. It's the hustle. Nothing's stopping him from making them plates and driving around trying to get them plates off so that he can get his food truck.
I mean, consequently, the thing about it is that I think that a lot of us have bought into these narratives that we believe that people really don't want to see us succeed. I really truly believe that there's a lot of people that believe that they have haters, that they believe that there are people like they are so hell bent and focused on the belief that the masses want to see them fail. And they find this faulty motivation based on the fact that they think that there's some outward oppression somewhere that is preventing them from seeing the forest for the trees. When really and truly it's just like once you break away from any conventional think tank, and by conventional that means whatever the regular conversational thought process is amongst the people that you normally seek confidence and seek refuge with. Once you step outside of that norm, because this thinking process cannot process a different form of thought, it's going to automatically come with certain levels of resentment or certain levels of confusion and misunderstanding. That's something that you have to understand is that when you are doing this, hey man, keep writing these rap songs. No, man, I'm gonna go get off into these computers and try to work on this program to get with these kids and start teaching them about the wave of the future. Oh man, you a lame. Oh, okay, well, I was just cool when I was writing the raps, but now when I want to go work on this, that you mean to tell me that's lame? And all of a sudden, artificial intelligence is at an all-time high. And what are you doing? Still writing rap songs, huh? Keep at it. Keep at it. Keep at it. Before you know, we're gonna have AI rappers.
I mean, they already tried it. They they had oh man, what was this dude's name? It was like a Dominican rapper or whatever. He was actually signed to Sony. It was an AI rapper. And then back then here we also had Sita from Sita's World. That was AI. But I mean, wasn't a rapper, but it was still in that lane of generating AI technology. Yeah. So it's been here.
If you guys are in the comments, I need y'all to look alive. I need y'all to check in, talk about this topic that we're talking about today, because there's a lot of people who are in careers or in jobs. A lot of people that are in jobs right now that they mistake for careers. Yo, is that look like a ghost, bro? You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, Lintel, what's going on, baby? Theory, my man.
Theory.
Thank you for checking in with us today, man. It's good to see you breathing, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but in concept, man, we really have to think about things along the lines for how they actually are. Is that some guys went to the military and now the benefits when we were sitting back, like, man, I ain't never going to no military. But these guys and they VA bills and their schooling being paid for. Look who got the last laugh in those situations.
Yeah,
Military retirement.
I feel goofy not going.
TRICARE. But the thing is, again, it's like you look at it and the long range, large picture that they had wasn't yours.
Mm-hmm.
So now when you're looking back in retrospect, you think like, man, I could really use that VA loan at that low interest rate right about now. Why it don't? And again, it's like they might have been going for other reasons. It might have been because of the fact that if I stayed out here in the street, I wouldn't have had self-discipline. I didn't have a father to teach me something. So maybe the drill sergeant can do for me what my daddy couldn't do. It's like the rich dad, poor dad. It's like maybe the drill sergeant is going to be my rich dad because he could teach me that thing. He could take me further than what my own old man or what my uncles or what a block could took me.
Right. He taught me everything that he know, you know what I'm saying, and got me to this point. But now for me to continue to move on, I need that drill sergeant.
Yeah. And a whole lot of these things that we don't necessarily understand what the large picture is in real time. But when you look at it from a long-term point of view, there's a bigger picture. Even those people who made those decisions may not have saw the bigger picture at the time, but they're able to reap the benefits because they're available and because of the accessibility of them, because of the sacrifices that they made early. Now, mind you, the show is called Old Enough to Know Better, Young Enough to Do Better. So we talking about being old enough to know better. I'm aged out of the military. That's just not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen for me. However, that's not the only lane. The possibilities are endless for you to make certain decisions that are going to benefit your life. You have to understand that it's all in what you do. You have to come to the realization that action, immediate action, once the aha moment hits you, is the only way to turn things around.
Speed of implementation.
You don't need to think about it. You don't need to cross reference it with a whole bunch of people. You don't need to have multiple conversations. You don't need to have a build up for it. You just need to go outside today and say, you know what? Today is day one. Let's go figure out what's going to be. Mm-hmm. With the selling plates example, or the first time that you said, "Hey, I know how to fix phones. Let me fix your phone. Let me give you a promo show. Let me get inside of there and let me show you what I know how to do." Yeah, and with that being said, opportunities are boundless because you're not limited to any specific thing. Might touch base on that.
Boundless. This phone, this computer, this supercomputer turns you into a cyborg. Almost anything and everything that you want to know, you can look up. Anything that you want to try to find, you can look up. Google, Safari, Microsoft Edge, whatever you are trying to do and accomplish, it is here. YouTube literally is a university. Is it going to have all the answers? No, you're going to have to go out there and gain a real life experience. But it is enough to get you going and to get the ideas flowing and to get the juices flowing and to give you enough confidence to get out there and make something happen. Absolutely. Then you also have Coursera. You got Skillshare. Google has their own classes, free at that, and actual real world certifications that you can get for free that you can start utilizing to build yourself up and to make a living for yourself. There's absolutely no reason to be feeling like you held back, you held down. Oh, this happened, that happened. Oh, mama didn't do this, daddy didn't do that, he wasn't there, all this and that. No, there's no excuses anymore.
But it's like how we spoke about this before, is that once you get to a certain place, like I have this belief that when it comes down to your children, that your children are actually supposed to be the reminders of being limitless. As you watch your children absorb and start to do certain things, they're supposed to be our reminders to not limit ourselves and our capabilities. But instead, we have been conditioned that because we have kids, we have to be safe. Because of the kids, we have to start playing it safe. Rather than because we have kids, that we have to go harder.
I wish I thought that way to be safe, but I just can't, dog. Me having kids actually made me more risky. I threw myself at way bigger opportunities because I had the children, because I had to figure out to survive and to provide for them. I took on running the state of Michigan for DirecTV. I took on the Portillo contracts, and I went for the big stuff. I didn't play it safe. That's just me.
And I'm gonna just say this: the only failure that you have ever incurred is the moment that you decided that you were gonna stop trying. The moment that you said that that's it, I'm done, or the moment that you convinced yourself that the thing that you liked or the thing that you thought about was too big, or the moment that you let the money get in the way of moving in a direction. We've had this conversation so many times. Oh my God. How many times you done had conversations with people to where it's like an elaborate build up in the idea pool. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you get but where we going to get the money to do that? And then all of a sudden, the momentum just go through the ground.
It just drops, yeah.
It just drops. It's like I've had so many of them conversations to where it's like, okay, well, how we going to get the money? Go ask. Go hustle. Go figure it out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you got crowdfunding, crowdsourcing. I mean, the way that the market is moving now, dude, you can create a product without creating the product and get the product funded before you actually produce the product.
just by selling people a good idea. What's her name? The girl who did the little blood testing thing.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of
Yeah,
her name, but
I mean,
you're
she
talking about
Theranos. It was Theranos, wasn't it?
something like that. Yeah.
And then it was like the other guy, the Nikola Trucks dude, who these guys rallied up billions of dollars off of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Never had an actual physical
I'm glad I
product.
did buy out of that stock though.
Yeah, I mean, these guys never had physical.
I
And
sold out
again,
of that. I'm like, well, I got to get out of this.
yeah, well, aside from the scam,
Yeah.
it just goes to show that when people believe in something and when you truly believe it to where you can sell it like you believe it,
Mm-hmm.
people want to follow. Whether they see it as an investment or they see it as an innovation or they see it as the wave of the future. Like we was talking about, like Lentil was saying in the chat earlier about the new AI and Chat GPT.
Yeah, and I really encourage Lintel to please, you know what I'm saying, come back, tap in more. We actually spoke about Chat GTP about 4 podcasts ago, dog, and that was a really great talk when how we were talking about the things and how powerful Chat GTP is and how life changing. That is a huge game changer
You
for
know,
sure.
right now I'm in school for business, and I'm almost done with my degree. My marketing teacher actually have us using Chat GPT as far as teaching us how to use it as a tool to like come up with um not necessarily mission statements, but to come up with like 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 product placement, like branding product.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like you sit there and you look at it and just type in a couple of keywords and they'll come up with a whole mission statement for you.
Yep, and then there's another one just like Chat GTP called Writer, RYTR, and I've been using that one for a while too. There's a lot of them out there, bro, but Chat GTP and Writer are kind of like my top two.
You know, and the funny thing about it, right, is that the more that you use it, it becomes like a brain. So the more that is used, the more widely that is used, the better it gets. The
Better
more it absorbs information, the more.
adapt.
So you look at that, it's like it works the same way that you do, except for the fact that it does not have the ability to tell itself no, was what an AI separates from you. Is that it's going to absorb and learn and absorb and learn and absorb and learn. And you're going to observe and learn until the point to where you tell yourself, nah, you limit your own potential.
That's that whole analysis paralysis too. Like that
Mm-hmm.
slides right into that.
Hey, go ahead. Put that out there.
Analysis paralysis.
Talk about it.
So analysis paralysis basically is, let's say that you want to go try a new venture. We can take, you know, t-shirts for example, and you want to become the greatest t-shirt seller, e-commerce store. You got all these great designs and all that, but you learning, trying to figure it out, talking to this person, that person, watching this podcast, that podcast, reading this article, that article, and all this time that you learning all this information, collecting all this information, you're doing nothing with the information. You didn't go get your LLC. You didn't establish your business bank account. You didn't try to put yourself in place with like a Haynes or a Gildan to try to see if you can get wholesale. You're not doing nothing. You got all the information, but you're not doing nothing. And then doing nothing eventually turns into just completely forgetting about it altogether.
You know, some of us are info junkies. We like to be well informed, but we don't like to do. And when I look at myself and I look at how much stuff that I've talked myself out of, how much stuff that I tried to convince myself that I could and couldn't do, yeah, never applied it. It's just like you think about it and you think about it and you think about it, and it's just like you get this burning under. It's like the analogy of like the pot of water, and you put the heat under it, and it comes to a good boil. And it comes to a good boil. Got the top on it, it's coming to a good boil. But then now the intensity starts to get too hot. Water boils over, put the flame out. That's exactly what happens to many of us because we don't see the large picture. We don't see that after that pot gets so hot, it's time to put some noodles in it. It's time to put some rice in it. There's another process aside from the boiling of the water.
Yes. Yeah, hoarding information that you don't use does take up space in the mind because you're not emptying out your wastebasket. You know what I'm saying? That's, computer terms. You're not emptying the recycle bin, and you're not opening up space to continue to learn something else, to continue to grow. Learn the information, apply the information, cache the information, which means store it so that you can always reference back to it. But then you need to open space up to learn. If you got a 500 gig hard drive and you got all 500 gigs used, but you need to install a new software, it's going to tell you you need to remove space. You need to empty up some space to install this program. The brain works the exact same way. And to be honest with you, the computer actually was modeled off the human brain. It works the exact same way.
Consequently, I feel as if most of what we look at in our lives is that we're trying to find something that we like. If you think about your life, people that you like, there's some people that you liked at a period of time that you no longer care for them. There are certain ice cream foods or certain things that you like that you no longer care for. If you try to model a career or a lifestyle after something that you like, well, guess what? Eventually you're going to burn out with it too. We are evolutionary people by nature. So the whole thing about it is that when you have created something, it's easier to move and ebb and flow when you have something than it is to continue to move around with nothing. The barriers of entry are a lot easier and smoother. Like we talk about like Drake. He was already a star. So him
Yeah.
jumping from film to music probably wasn't as hard of a transition as somebody writing rap songs in a basement in the hood.
Right. Right.
It was just, hey, I got an agent. Get my agent to talk to these guys over here and find out who can I do what with or how can I go about doing this. And I already got fans, so let's see if my fans will
Right.
start supporting this thing, and I keep at this until this turns into something else.
Yeah.
The
Then on top of
barriers.
that, his agent was plugged in too. So his agent was like, I bet, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give me something good. I bet. He had what's the his very first hit song? Beauty, you my everything. Da 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 da. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
his agent was like, I bet, give me that record. I'm gonna slide to Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx put him on. Jamie Foxx slid him over to Jay Prince, and it was history from there. You know, so having the right people around you, that is a huge one, because you don't know who your people know, and you got to stay in good graces with them too. That's something that I definitely learned over the years. Old enough to know better, young enough to do better. Been through a lot of situations to where, you know what I'm saying, bridges and stuff like that. But man, when you get older and you realize like how stupid it was, especially the part that you played, it was dumb as hell. You really mature. So keep that in mind too, as far as young enough to do better.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Let's get that comment right there because I like that. There's some sauce in them ribs right there. Say, my plan is
Hmm.
to retire in
I was reading it.
27 years. I'm at 18 years now at my job. I'm just trying to figure out my next move, and it's the point. It's at the point that it feels like security blanket for people because a job, when and how much money you have coming in. Starting my own business is a desire, but the anxiety comes from money because a business can go up and down. All right, so I'm gonna chime in
Well,
on
here's
that briefly. I'm gonna chime in on that briefly, and then I'm gonna let Midas take away because he's the one that's living off of what he does for a living, so he's probably more qualified. I just want to give a little perspective on this. The man or the group of people at the company that your safety net was built on didn't care about the anxiety that they had about starting the company. And that's why you have a job. Their decision to go against the grain is the reason you have a safety net. So the concept of I am anxious or I fear this or I don't, those are self inflicted wounds that you put on yourself to convince yourself that something cannot be done, that it can be done for them, but it can't be done for you. You are telling yourself that. And the reason why you're telling yourself that, logically, when you put the application in for the job, for the safety net, you weren't the only person applying for that job. You got chosen. The work met the opportunity, and they combined. It works the same way out here. Again, it's a barrier of entry. First and foremost, what do you actually want to do? What are the barriers of entry to get in that? When people talk about, oh, I want to run a business, they have a romantic fantasy about running a business, but they have no idea what they actually want to do. They don't actually research what it is that they want to do. They just fantasize about the analysis paralysis that you were talking about a minute ago. They fantasize about, oh, I want to sell clothes. I want to see my clothes on everybody. Okay, well, what is the barrier of entry into the clothing business? Do you want to be a designer? Do you want to be a retailer? Do you want to sell a product that already exists and just put your own store together? Do you want to be in the e-commerce side? Where do you want to go? There's a million different ways to be in the clothing business. I don't have to be a designer. Somebody put this shirt in their store for me to come and find it. That's called a buyer. Somebody at Marshall's or Burlington or wherever made the decision to say that's going to do well in our market based on our clientele base. And they knew that I was coming one day to come and get this shirt off the rack.
Mm-hmm.
They had the statistics to know that. So that's just throwing that out there as far as the business goes, as far as what role people play within a business or what ideas as far as what people want to do with their dream. So number one, I say know what you want to do. Thoroughly research what it is that you want to do. And once you have done that, just go do it. First start by buying your name. Then go buy your domain so that you have internet real estate. And after that, go do the work every day. 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever you can free up, but do the work. Midas, take it from there, please.
I was gonna drop a bomb in there, but I didn't want to mess up your thought process.
Oh, no. Bombs away.
So I'm gonna drop it now because you said you need to buy your name. And I'm finna explain what that means. Buy your name means two things. One, you need to own your name in the LLC or S corp or C corp, however you want to do that. The second thing you need to do is you need to own your name in a URL format. GoDaddy.com is what I mean. You need to own your name. So JamilaMcKinney.com. You need to own that. And then you need to also own different variations of how you think people might spell your name. So I own my name with one R, one T, and I own my name with the two R's and two T's. I also own my name as Michael King Midas Merritt.com. I own all of that. Michael Earl Merritt II. I own all that. So that's definitely part of your business one-on-one. All right. Two. So going back off, having anxiety and things of that nature. So yes, I do make a living off of what I do. I do not have an employer. How I did it was I actually started doing side hustle jobs just like everybody else. Started off doing the when the cell phone industry was really booming and the cell phone repair was at its peak. Your iPhone, 4s and 5s and 6s and 7s and 8s and all that. It was at its peak. I was doing repair for a company called Assurian. And they would bring the phones in and things of that nature, and I would fix them. Well, on the side, I started doing repairs, actually driving to people's houses and meeting people wherever. If you went to the zoo, if you was going to the zoo that day, you broke your phone, I went to the zoo to fix your phone. I went to the grocery store. I went to the football games. I showed up at the park when you was kicking it with your family, and I fixed your phone right there in front of the whole family at the barbecue. And then Assurian adapted that from me. So, they owe me. But anyway, so I started, with something simple like that and built my side hustle up, and I saved about maybe 6 to 7 months of rent before I officially took the leap. So what I do is contract fulfillment now, and the contract fulfillment actually came from working with this company called DirectSat, who was the biggest ISP in the area for DirecTV. So they not only did they fill contracts for DirecTV, but they also fill service contracts for like Verizon, AT&T, and all these other companies. And that's where I got the idea of doing contract fulfillment from. So then I just implemented all the IT technological information that I already knew, from cell phone repair to computer repair to then upgrading to doing security camera installations to now I do drive-through system installations for McDonald's, Portillo's, Dunkin', Starbucks. I do all of their systems throughout the Midwest. I own the contract for the Midwest for those systems. And again, it started with me just saving the money, putting it to the side, because here's what's going to happen. At the end of your 27-year retirement, once you get your pension or your 401k and all the rest of that come in, that it's going to help you survive. Yeah, but it's only going to be a little bit. So you want to start putting something in place that can actually completely, fully replace the income that you have coming in now. Still do the 27 years because that's guaranteed. But you need something that's making just as much or more, you know what I'm saying, before the retirement happened. Don't wait for the retirement and then you decide to start doing something else, because we just spoke about this 2 podcasts ago where we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. No, the bridge is right here, right now. We also talked about speed of implementation. NIPSCO, NICOR, ComEd, whoever you got your electricity bill, your heat bill, and all that through, they're not waiting for you to decide on when you want to start your business or when you decided when you're ready to retire. They're not waiting for you, and they don't care. Your bill is due now. So you need to start your business now. You need to implement it now. Start working on it now. Figuring out the kinks now. Go through the headache and BS now. So when you do get those 4, 5, 6 years in, you have a real good understanding of how your business needs to operate. You know exactly how your cash flow is coming in. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You need to do it now. Don't wait until retirement. Do it now. Don't wait until your kids is ready to go to college and then now you're ready to get in preparing for college mode. You need to get prepared now, because you don't know if they're going to decide to want to go or not. You don't know if your child is going to get a full ride or not. You need to prepare now.
You can drop a bomb. Drop a bomb. You got it. We're going to be open. You get a bomb. You get a bomb.
Right. Oh, wait a minute. Before, I don't want to breeze past this. Lintel brought up that they got a new one called Barb. Yes. Barb is in beta mode. I've been using it. It is by Microsoft. It's not full-blown alpha yet, but yeah, that's another one that's going to be a takeover.
I'm going to tell you like this. Let's look at Microsoft, right? We're going to look at Microsoft. Let's look at Apple. Let's look at some of these companies. And I want y'all to really think about where things trial and error, right? Microsoft, for instance. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for chiming in, and thank you for being a part. Your commentary, your questions, it make this thing grow. It makes it a better place to be. And we appreciate the fact, especially that, a woman can chime in and take something for what it is that we're saying, take perspective on what we're saying, take the hard, grinding criticism that comes with it, and see the positive out of it. So thank you. Now, with Microsoft, for instance, everything Microsoft did was not a slam dunk.
Mm-hmm. Vista.
Windows Vista was a
oh my God.
You see how quick they got that in it? Like, there was 9 months.
Windows Phone. Oh my God.
The Windows Phone just did not take off. The best Windows Phone that they had, I think it was the Wing and the Shadow.
The Shadow. That was their best.
The Moto Q was terrible. Q was decent. No, it wasn't. It wasn't, because it kept blacking out on you after 6 months of ownership.
It did black out. Yeah, it
did.
Yeah,
you'd be typing an email and it just go away.
But the QWERTY board, the way that they laid out the QWERTY board, that was nice.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. It gave you more space than the BlackBerry, but
Yeah.
for what it was worth, it was cool. It was nice, but it didn't serve the purpose. So we have to understand something that with Apple, on the other hand, everything Apple did wasn't a slam dunk either. Like they got these headphones that they look like massive headphones. Like they want to charge $500 for headphones. Like y'all got us with the AirPods. Man, I was good here. But now y'all want to give me the same headphones that he wearing and charge me $500 for them? Like y'all just innovated something new? It's like at the end of the day, it's like some of us buy because we're co-followers of brand. But the value of what you're getting, it's just like, come on, man. And then when you set such a high bar for being this giant when it comes down to innovation, and your innovations over the last several years have been so lackluster that Samsung beats you to almost every valuable intellectual property patent that matters. The finger thing, the little finger unlock, they beat them to it. The facial recognition, Samsung beat them to it. It's like almost everything that we value, somebody beat him to it. And it's almost like since Steve Jobs left, well, since he passed on, the innovations have not been as plentiful as they were before.
Mm-hmm.
So, off that note, you have to take into consideration the fact that you have to be willing to try something. Let's think about like the Nintendo. Like, dude, come on, man. Like with a Sega Genesis, you now playing Sonic characters on Nintendo products, where those were the leading competitors against each other back in the day. Sega Genesis, the Super Nintendo, Mario versus Sonic. It just became that way. But people have to be willing to take a chance, and when that chance does not work, you have to be willing to do something else. IBM was a leader as far as creating the modules or creating the systems that almost every company was operating off of for their POS systems in the 80s and 90s. Then all of a sudden the laptop came out, and the laptop was way stronger than the personal computer. Dell said, forget all that. You should have a computer at home. Without Dell, the concept of everybody having a computer in their house that they could access at a moment's notice would exist. Now, for AT&T high-speed internet, we don't know if we would be here. For us to be able to sit here and podcast today, we owe AT&T, DSL. We owe that whole innovation to be able to allow us to be able to communicate online quicker. Because there was a generational step where somebody saw it, made a better mousetrap, and did it better. And continues to do it better. And continue to do it better. So if you don't ever get in the race, you'll never get that. And innovations are still going to keep coming, whether Jamala's name is in it or not, or whether Mike Jones's name or Phil Jones's name is in it or not. Everything is going to get better. Marketing is going to get better. Information technology is going to get better, whether I'm a player in a game or not. So you may as well throw your hand in the hat. I mean, you may as well throw your hat in it.
Mm-hmm.
You may as well. You don't benefit from having great ideas with no follow through.
Just go for it, Mylan. Like, stop waiting. Figure out what you want to do. I remember a year, 2 years ago, me and you talked about a business. I'm not finna, put on the platform what we talked about. That's IP. But
I was gonna say, because I was gonna say that you need to get the sound effect where it say "stop snitching."
yeah. So that's IP. I'm not finna talk about it, but I mean, that idea can still happen. I hope you know what I'm talking about that we discussed when I had the shop over in Matson.
No, I mean, it's like, and outside of just her, because she's the one that's actively talking at the moment. But this is for anybody that's tuning into this conversation, anybody that's tuning into this. You have to understand that one of the biggest things that has happened to many of us is that we've adopted fear as a method of operation. And when we realize how easy things are for us to do and how effortless it is to get involved and invested, you almost kick yourself in the behind like, wow, I had no idea that this was actually this simple to do. Excuse me, mama. Keep going.
So let's talk about. I like where he was going with that. So let's talk about all the greatest ideas and making no movement on them. So, and I could bring my mama up here and she will confirm all this. Uber, I thought of that, and I'm probably not the only person in the world that thought of that. But at that time, before phone apps and all that was even in existence, I thought of Uber. There was this app out called Scally. There's this app called Scally where it scours the whole entire world, look for applications and grants and all that college students can qualify for, because you can qualify for more than just the grants that's just in your state or just in the United States. You can actually qualify for grants all around the world, and Scally scours the world looking for them. I thought of that app a while ago. Man, I thought of a lot of stuff. The washer and dryer in one before they actually started making the washer and dryer in one. So, man, I got a lot of ideas that I had back in the day that's now in existence today. Didn't know how to proceed to bringing them to light. Again, the apps didn't exist then, so I had no idea how to make that happen. But here we are today.
All right, so catch me up to speed. What I miss?
I was talking about how having ideas and never actually making movement on them, and how I could actually bring Mama on the show to validate that I had a lot of innovative ideas that's in existence today that no way, shape, form, or fashion could they have existed because we didn't have the technology to. But as far as like Uber, Uber Eats and all that, I thought of that. The app Scally, where the world can be scoured for grants for people to qualify for school. I thought of that. The washer and dryer in one unit. I thought of that. But yeah, there was a lot of things back then that I thought of that's now in existence and they're flourishing.
And again, it's like I think that one of the biggest hindrances for people when it come down to making decisions is they convince themselves that they're too old, they aged out of certain things. But then also, along with the typical excuses, is the fact that they find the barriers of entry to be too difficult. They don't think that they have it. They always compare themselves to people who already have the means. Oh, I can't get into real estate because I don't have the money to put down on a piece of property and then flip it and so forth, because I can't automatically just go access it or get the contract in. Oh, there's a problem. Okay, well, you may not have it right now, but if I know I have this goal, saving up 2 to 3 years to be able to become a player in that game, it may not be the immediate, but it may be the long term. The short term may be saving the money to get my first property. The short term may be getting my credit in line so that I can qualify for what I need to get access to the first piece of property.
And then once again, if you actually utilizing your cyborg technology, if you're utilizing your Star Trek technology, thanks Star Trek, thanks for the phone. Then you would know, if you actually really doing the research in real estate, then you would know that you don't need no money to buy property. You would know that you can actually get in at wholesale, and all you got to do is put the property under contract. And then you write the contract up to have a clause that say if you can't sell it, you get the back out of the deal. No harm, no foul. If you actually really doing the research, if you really hardcore want to get into real estate, you would know that.
I mean, at the end of the day,
you got your cyborg next to you.
At the end of the day, the one thing that I can't stress enough is that I'm 37 years old. And at 37 years old, I'll be finalizing a degree soon. Anybody can tell me whatever it is they want to tell me, and I'm going to tell you that you're absolutely right. You are 100% right. Whatever you tell me that you cannot do, I 100% agree with you. You're right. You can't do it. If you feel like something is difficult, you are absolutely right that it's difficult. Now, when I sit and I look at this 100,000 people who have already done it before you, there's a big difference between them and you. And the big difference is the fact that they were willing to fail and you made excuses. So you're either going to join this group over here or you're going to stay over here on this side with all the rest of the people who can't do it. And you got to understand too, there's a mindset shift that comes along with making the decision to take the plunge. If there's people around you who are always talking about everything that can't be done, everything that's difficult, you first got to get those people out of your ear. Mm-hmm. You got to get away from those people. You can't hang out in those circles no more. I can't go and hang out at the club and have a wife at home. You can't do it. These two things cannot occupy the same space. I can't live a single man's life and a married man's life at the same time. I can't live an existence to where I'm balling out of control, spending all my money, and then being a super saver at the same time. They don't exist.
Right.
So you cannot have things that contradict the result that you want in your immediate grasp and think that somehow that's going to transition to something positive. It will not. And you may think that these people are good people to be around because they were there for you when you were at your worst situation. Sometimes your worst situation was actually caused by the same people that you credit for bailing you out.
It's a vicious cycle, man. It's a vicious cycle. And we spoke about that too. Like, you got to understand that you got to know who you can talk to and who you can't. You got to know who's in your circle and who's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's real crazy. You know, you got to keep the grass cut real low. I spoke about the situation to where Fat Joe was trying. Well, he wasn't trying. This drink company was trying to give Joe a $4 million endorsement deal. And the executive of that company went to go fly. He flew out to New York to go try to talk to Joe, and his circle would not let him talk to Joe. So you got to be careful with who you got around you, because they can intrude and cause you to lose out on opportunities. Now, not to say that Joe maybe did or maybe not needed the 4 million, but the fact that his circle kept him from being able to get that deal, you got to pay attention to that.
You also got to pay attention to one important thing, and it's probably the most important thing that I can think of. It's your life. It's your life. You have to live it the way that you see fit. But if you're going to wake up to a miserable existence every day for the sake of just maintaining the misery, ask yourself, is it worth it? For me to get up and drive to a place that I hate, in a car that I don't like, to go make money, to come to a house that I don't want to be in, what kind of life do you have?
Well, you got what you wanted. Honestly, if you're driving a car that you do not want to drive, and you're not putting yourself in gear to get out of that car, to put yourself in the car that you want to drive, that is all on you. Life is about choices, dog. That's plain and simple. That's very cliche, but it's plain and simple. Life is about choices, dog. If you want to get out of that apartment and you want to get into a townhouse, or you want to get out of that townhouse into an actual property that you own, that's on you. That's on you to make that choice and make that decision and start putting things in place so that you can start making these moves to hit these milestones. That's on you.
Someone say the closeout statement, after that you shut it down. There's a million reasons that you can give yourself why it can't work. Build off the one reason that you can find for why it can and move in that direction. Give yourself one reason why it can work and move in that direction. Anyway, that's my time, guys. That's our time. That's his time. That's your time. That's everybody's time. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, man, you do the close out. I'm done with the close out.
Yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate you, Theory, Mila. And we had a newcomer come today too.
Yeah, he came in off the Twitch server.
Man, I appreciate that. Thanks for coming in, GA Bed H. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. Make sure y'all hit us on YouTube, the Extraordinary Men Podcast on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, and click the bell. Make sure you tap in with us so you know every single time that we go live. We go live every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. And throughout the week, you'll start to see Mike Jones, aka Phil Jones, however you know him personally or professionally. You'll see all his shorts and all that dropping, and he dropping gems, y'all. He dropping gems. So make sure that you tune in. Also hit us up on the Facebook group because that's where you can get in contact with us personally, and we can talk about ideas and concepts, and we can bring up things. We can talk about it, come to a general consensus, and bring it to the show, and expand on it more with the world. So tap in with us. All right. Make sure y'all hit that QR code. Use your cyborg creator, your cyborg device. Open up your camera and scan that QR code. Tap in. Let the world know that we here. If you like what we do, if you believe in what we do, because this show isn't just for us. This show is for you. Honestly, we do this for y'all. So make sure you tap in.
I do it for me too. I like to talk a lot. But, you know.
I mean, yeah, I do it for me, but I said we just don't do it for us. It's for them.
Okay, yeah. I glanced over that part. My bad.
Yeah, you glanced. Wait, yeah, you did.
You know, people who talk a lot don't listen a lot. So you know what I'm saying? No, anyway, man. Thank you guys for y'all time. We love y'all to death. Make sure y'all tune back in. We'll be back first thing Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with another gem dropping episode for y'all. Peace.